In-house counsel, I paid for 4 things. I was happy to pay for 2 of them, counsel and advocacy. I hated paying for process and content, so that's where I put a lot of my efforts. Jeff Carr, our friend from Houston who coined that, says, the only thing I hate more than answering the same question twice is paying to answer the same question twice. There's a lot of wheel reinvention that goes on in law firms and by lawyers, and for that reason, lawyers are miserable people, especially young ones. They spend way too much time at their desks on the process and the content. This makes them unhappy, and in part, it's because they are chained to a machine they have never been trained how to use. Lawyers do not learn how to use computers in law school. This is generally true, and it's generally painful. It's a huge reason why they're miserable, and it's a huge reason why my bills were so high. So I did many things, and one of them was I created a test. How good are my lawyers at using basic technology, like Word and Excel? The answer, of course, is not very. And for me, this is one part of a much larger metrics puzzle. As in-house counsel, how do we measure and therefore manage our outside counsel? How do we look under the hood? Because when we do, we don't necessarily like what we find. What I found, and this is just with the basic competence test, was that about 13% of my spend was wasted on people not knowing how to use just the most basic tools. They were taking way too long on very simple process and content tasks. But I looked at other things, like how long they waited to enter their time. The longer they waited, the more they inflated. By enforcing the velocity metric, I reduced my costs by 23%. And for me, this is all part of a much larger look at how do law firms run, what is their process, what is their technology. I'm not so much interested in punishing firms. What I'm interested in is getting a general picture of how the firms operate, where they are on the spectrum in terms of process and content, how do they use technology, and then working with them to improve. How do we remediate this? How do we get better? Because when you have the people and the pricing in place, the process is where your focus goes. And again, it's not about precision, it's about accuracy. It's about a general picture of the firms. And it really is about working together. It's not about antagonism. It's about how do clients and their lawyers partner together to improve legal services, but also improve the quality of life for lawyers who really don't like being chained to their desks the way they are. This is a supply chain management view of the world, but it's also a strategic sourcing one where we recognize the value in long-term relationships and working together to improve the end product, to improve the value along the value stream. But that means getting past the myopia, the what is important this very second, what do I have to do? We're very, very busy, and so how do we step back and look at something beyond our own expertise? How do we leave our own comfort zone? That's very, very hard, especially when we, as lawyers, are so expert. We genuinely add value through our expertise, but we've also added through our hard work. And this is one of our biggest problems, is we're so used to working hard that sometimes we don't take the time to think about working smart. Lawyers will give up health, they'll give up family to get the job done right, but they don't think about how those little decisions add up, how improving process and the use of technology carves out more time for them to really add value with the advocacy and the counseling. Here that is on a grand scale. What does it mean to really improve your efficiency? How many man-hours does that add? It adds not just man-hours, it adds headcount. And we tend not to realize that because we're so caught up in the minutia. Everything I've said is obvious, it's simple, it's easy, and of course it's none of those. This is all hard, and this is why it takes all of us together to come up with ways to improve it. I have one way. I like to measure my outside counsel, but again, for the purpose of improving them, for the purpose of working together. And if you're interested in working with me, here's my contact information. I love talking about these ideas on all levels. Thank you so much.